What's up, guys? My name is Reeve Zephos. I am the Guild Master, and I will be giving you guys a breakdown on the basics for Hunt Showdown. Now, I used to be a pro player for Halo, Call of Duty, Battlefield. I used to play in tournaments and things like that. So today I'm going to teach you the basic course that I would use when I was helping some of my friends learn to play a new shooter game. And keep in mind, this is from somebody. I had an 18 KD in Black Ops 2 when it first came out. I was in the top 100 Warlocks in Destiny 1. I had an 86% headshot accuracy. And the things I'm going to teach you today are about the technical aspects of a game, not the mechanical aspects, right? We're not talking about how good is your flick aim and all that stuff, right? That's the technical stuff is things that you can learn easily, whereas the mechanical things are things you're going to have to practice, right? You're going to have to spend some time in the shooting range, warming up, landing all your shots, right, and taking the time to master that. It's something anybody can learn, but it's something that takes time, okay? So what we're going to go over today, right, is these are the absolute basics. These are things that every player should know, okay? So we're going to start with cover. These are things that a lot of players have a general idea of, but they never really think it through, right? So what is cover, right? Cover is anything you can hide behind. Anything that you can hide behind that's going to make it harder for your opponent to shoot you. Now, a good example of cover, right? There are 3 types of cover. And I break these down into 3 categories. Visual cover, which is going to be things like bushes, right? Like, how often do you come across somebody hiding in bushes in Hunt, right? It's visual cover. It's something that obscures your body. Visual cover is surprisingly useful. It's not the best thing ever, right? But visual cover is better than no cover. Say, for example, me and this person right here are in a fight. He's in the open, right? It's easy for me to jump, see him in the distance, right? Just clear my ping. But if I jump, I can spot him. Or I can look through the bushes and potentially find an angle. But it's harder for him to see me. That's a good example of visual cover. It clutters up the screen and makes it difficult to see you. The other 2 types of cover in this game are hard and soft cover. Hard cover is going to be something that you cannot shoot through, right? Something like this big chunk of stone right here. Doesn't matter how hard I try, no bullet is ever going to pass through all of this and hit him in the head. Right? And this is with a Nitro Express, the heaviest hitting, highest penetration gun in the game. Right? Hard cover cannot be shot through. The other alternative is soft cover. Soft cover can be shot through depending on the right ammo type. For example, we'll put a mark here on that head. Nitro Express can shoot through that, right? That would be a thin stone wall. This piece of sheet metal. Nitro Express can shoot through that. But something like the Officer Carbine, which uses compact ammo, can't. Something like the Scotfield with medium ammo can't. Whereas heavy ammo, or long ammo, as it's called in Hunt, sorry. Long ammo can. Right? So, while this is hard cover to most of the ammo types in the game, it's still technically soft cover. So paying attention to what ammo type your opponent is using can be helpful, but it's not the be-all, end-all, just for this example. So, like I said, 3 types of cover. Hard cover is something you cannot shoot through with any ammo type. Soft cover is something that can be penetrated with the right ammo, say for example this wood, with compact ammo. And visual cover, cover that clutters your view and makes it harder to see. Now that we have a solid understanding of cover, how do we use it, right? What's an angle? We've all heard that term before, right? Holding an angle, where I can see this, but they can't really see me too well, right? Well, I'm going to show you something. If I'm right up against this, how much do I actually see? Not a whole lot of anything that's going on over there, right? Now, if I walk straight backwards, look how much more I can see. I can see that whole area right there, right? So, this is the basic breakdown of what an angle is, right? It's determining how much you can see based on your position. The closer I get to this wall, the less I see, because the larger this wall becomes in my vision. So holding an angle would be taking something far enough back that I can still control the engagement by peeking from a distance, right? And we'll go over peaks in a little bit. But I control this. And I can take a pixel gap to shoot through to give myself more of an advantage. Good example, right? I know that there's dummies over there. Those are my enemies, right? They can't see me from here, but if I peek, I can see them land the shot. So this is an example of an angle. Now, on to the next point, right? What we were talking about a second ago. Peaks. What is a peak? A peak is when you step around some form of cover, whether that's high ground, right? High ground allows me to see over, but it still obscures most of my body. Or a corner, where I poke out for a moment to take a glance. Holy crap, my voice. My words, sorry. Can you tell I'm not a professional? I don't do this a whole lot. But a peek is when you step out to gather information or take a shot. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of info to help you understand peaks a bit better. Okay? So, how does the brain process information? Right? Visually. The brain processes information 2 ways. It takes a snapshot of what you see, and then it processes that information, right? So, the initial snapshot is instant, right? I can poke out, see where his head is. My brain sees that. But it takes the brain approximately 0.7 seconds, 7/10 of a second, right? So just shy of a full second. So if I want to know where he's at, I can peek, say he's hiding in that, the window over here. Say he's peeking that crack right there, right? I peek out and I see him, right? So take that snapshot, line up my shot approximately at head level, and when I step out, I can take the shot. And it's going to hit approximately where he is. But I want to take that 1 second to let my brain go, oh, he's in the window. Right? So you have to think about the way that your brain works. And it's not something you really need to put a lot of thought in, right? But if you take a peek, give yourself that 1 second to think about where he's at before you step out and take the shot. Okay? Now, regarding peeks, right? I'm going to pose you guys a question. What are the 3 types of peeks? How can I peek this corner to gather information or take my shot in the safest way possible? Right? First off, you never want to expose yourself for a long period of time. I don't want to walk way out here and all the way back. You see how long that took? When I could just snapshot. Now I've got a general idea. Did I see him? Did I not? I didn't see him. Okay, let's move to a different angle. But say, for example, I do see him. Right? I come over here, I take the angle, I'm uncontested, and I see him. There's the snapshot. What are the 3 different ways that I could peek this corner? Right? And we're gonna go into this a little bit more later. But the key point I want you to understand right now is head level. Right? That person's head is always going to be at the same level. So if I point my gun approximately at the level of his head, do I have to aim at all? I don't have to move my mouse, do I? I can step out, take the shot, and go back into cover. And it's very consistent. Right? And that keeps me safe. But it also is predictable, because when I'm doing this is the first type of peek would be a strafe peek, right? Standing strafe. But if you notice, my head's not moving. It's staying at the same level. How often do you see players do that? They step out to peek, but they just keep doing it. Their head's at the same spot, same level, and they do it in a rhythmic timing. So you just line up the shot, wait for them to do it, and plink away. Right? It happens all the time. So, how do we fix that problem? How do we take our head off of head level? Right? There's 2 things at our disposal. Crouching and jumping. Right? So the 3 types of peeks would be standing, crouching, and jumping. Now, if you're crouch peeking, this takes a long time. Right? How much of my body is staying exposed for all of that peek? So a way you can counteract that is step out, crouch, and then uncrouch to step back into cover. It has the same effect. Right? And you can still adjust your aim a little higher. Right? So it's not that difficult to adjust for. But the safest way to take your first peek is to jump peek. It takes your head off head level. It makes it difficult to determine what actual head level is. So when you line up the next shot, you can just quickly like that and get back out of line of fire, right? So we've been over, what is cover, what are the 3 types of cover. We've been over what's an angle, how to hold an angle, right? And how distance from the corner changes the angle. We've gone over what's a peek, how the brain processes information, snap versus process, and the 3 types of peeks. But now, how do we take advantage of that? We've been talking about it this whole time. Head level, right? You don't have to aim much if your crosshair's already at head level. Right? And so I want to talk about this a little bit more, but I'm going to use distance to help this one, right? And we're not talking about mechanics, we're talking about technical here, right? If I put my crosshair at approximately head level, I can aim more efficiently by strafing than trying to flick my mouse. Right? Because all I have to do is time the shot correctly. Right? Because I'm already at that level. Now, I'm fucking terrible, and my shots are way off. But this is the point that I'm trying to make, is that if I know approximate head level, it's about timing more than it is aim. I don't have to flick my shot and hope I hit. Right? So you're making it easier for yourself by not having to do all of the crazy mouse flicking stuff. Right? And this is most prominent with a shotgun. Because if you're already aimed at the corner when somebody comes around it, the adjustments you have to make are so much smaller. Right? So, right, if you put yourself in a good position aiming already at head level, you don't have to do all of that crazy flicking stuff that makes you look like a madman. Because you can aim approximately at the right spot and then adjust. Because I'm going to be honest with you, and this is a tip that really, really helped me when I started playing Halo Combat Evolved. It's far harder to adjust your side-to-side aim at long range because, notice, I'm still adjusting up and down than it is to take a step. It's still possible, of course, but it's so much easier to just get it approximately head level and step to the side. Right? And you can kind of let the sway do most of the work for you. This is how you can take advantage of the sway of your weapon and reduce the amount of extra effort you're having to put into your aim. It's far easier to hit a shot that you're already on the same level and just strafe into than it is to try to flick. And any pro player will tell you that flicks, while powerful, they take a lot of time to master. Some people have a natural talent for it, but most people don't. Good crosshair placement is something all pros do. And it's most noticeable with weird sights that give you good vision at a distance. Right? There's nothing wrong with a good readjustment shot. But you don't have to struggle with it. Right? So the last point I'm going to make today, we've been over head level, good crosshair placement, and just making your aim easier in general, is good movement. Everybody's seen this, where somebody's sprinting in a straight line, they're not changing directions, they're not wiggling, and they just get headshot. Everybody's seen it. We've all done it. We've all seen it. We've killed players doing it. Now, the simplest way people try to correct this is by strafing while they sprint. But notice how slow this is. It doesn't change much. So how can we adjust that? Well, the easiest way is by turning with your camera instead, wiggling. We've all seen players do this. Makes approximately the same distance at the same speed. But there's one extra thing you can do, and that's to strafe while turning the camera. It makes you far less predictable, and it also wiggles your body funny, right? And it makes it very, very awkward to try to shoot somebody who's doing this. Who looks like they're sprinting to the side, but is still getting closer and closer to you. And the key point to take with this is, say for example, I'm sprinting forward and I just turn my mouse to the right. Well, I'm no longer making progress in the direction I want to go. Oh, that's a quick tip for you guys if you didn't know. If you're using a gun with aperture sights, you can press X to toggle the sight. But, while you're doing this, you can still be juking to the side while making good progress in the direction you want to run. And it makes it very, very difficult to hit you. There is one additional way to make this even stronger, and that's what we were talking about earlier. Moving your head off of head level. Mix in a jump here and there. Because a shot that's aimed at your head might just hit your body instead. As a matter of fact, 9 times out of 10, a shot that would hit you in the head while doing all this random craziness is going to hit you in the body instead. But, we've just gone over what is movement and what is good movement, right? Making use of strafing and your camera to juke shots while also taking your head off head level, right? But also, what is movement's purpose? Why are we moving the way we're moving? Either to get closer to a target, because, say, for example, you're using a sword and you just cavalry saber, and you want to land that one shot, or a bomb lance, and you want to hit him, right? You could absolutely do that in an open field. It's, kind of a death wish, but by all means, try it if you're having fun. Experiment with the different ways you can move, and just notice how different it is, how much easier it is to get close to your opponents. But what is the purpose of movement? The real purpose? To get to cover. If they can't see you, they can't really shoot you anymore. Now, you still have to be careful with, penetration, like we were talking about earlier. But it's going to help a lot if you're constantly thinking about, am I in cover? Where are the other sets of cover around me? How can I get to them most efficiently? Right? Because the longer you're out of cover, the more likely you are to get shot. Excuse me, I had a sneeze. But once you're behind cover, you can determine how the fight goes down, because now that I have cover, I control the angle. I dictate when the fight happens, not my opponent. And even visual cover is better than no cover. So, what did we discuss today? What is cover? And the 3 types of cover. Hard, soft, and visual. Right? We covered what's an angle, and how to hold an angle. And we also talked about how distance from the corner dictates who controls the angle and who dictates when the fight starts. We talked about peaks. What is a peak? What are the 3 types of peaks? Standing, crouching, and jumping, and how the brain processes information and how we can use that to our benefit with a snapshot and then lining up at head level, right? We discussed how to aim to make our shots easier, right? With good crosshair placement and aiming at head level. And we discussed what is movement and how to use it. The main use of movement should always be to get to cover, right? And that's how these things all tie into each other. Like I said, my name is Reeve Zephos. I am the Guild Master, and it's been my pleasure to teach you guys today. And I really, really hope this helps. Because, and I want to make this clear, a good mechanically skilled player, somebody whose aim is godly, can consistently get to 4 stars MMR in this game. Easily. Right? I have a friend of mine. I'm not going to name him because I don't want to shame him. But his aim is insane. If he sees you first, it doesn't matter how far away you are, he's going to land the shot, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. He's going to take your head off, no matter how far away you are. His aim is just that good. But he doesn't understand how to use cover. He doesn't understand angles. It's just not something he ever cared to learn. And he consistently reaches 4-star MMR. Because he's just better than most players when it comes to aim. However, with technical skill, right, knowing where to aim, how to aim, listening to what's going on around you, because sound is very important, and I will link a video in the description that really helps break down how sound actually works in this game. And it's an amazing video. I strongly recommend you guys watch it. But a really strong technical player will beat a strong mechanical player 80% of the time, right? 4 out of 5 fights, the technical player's going to win. Sometimes the mechanical player's just going to get a good flick and take their head off, right? It happens. You can't win every game. But a strong technical player will know where the mechanical player is coming from and already have the shot lined up to just the moment they show their face, bink, you're dead. Right? So, I really hope that these tips help you guys and make your life a little bit easier, because this can be a very difficult game. I know that. Right? There's a lot going on. But I think everybody has the potential to be really good at this game. Because this game, unlike a lot of games, it gives you all the tools you need. Okay? And I really honestly believe that a strong, technically skilled player can make it to 5 and 6 stars consistently. I've been in 5 and 6 star lobbies, and I've reached 5 and 6 stars I don't know how many times, right? But then I go into a match, and I start not using my own advice, not following my own rules, that we've established in this video, and I die, necro myself, and I lose tons and tons of MMR. It happens. We make mistakes. We're only human, right? But it's trying to learn from it and be better in the future that makes us stronger. A good technical player will beat a good mechanical player 80% of the time, easily. And I think all of you guys are strong enough to reach that level consistently. Like I said, my name is Reeves Ephos. I am the Guild Master, and I appreciate you guys joining me for this tutorial, we'll call it that, for Hunt Showdown in its beginner's guide. It's time for me to close the guild hall, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.